Here's some demo tips on taking out this fiberglass garden tub. Make sure you have the water shut off, the pipes drained, and the power shut off to the motor before you go chopping on this thing. We're going to do most of this with a Sawzall. You might need a long blade, maybe a medium blade, but for sure the bulk of this is going to be done with a short, stiff, roughly 6-inch blade, 5-6 inches. The homeowner had started with taking the tile off, which I told him not to bother because I'm going to cut the drywall right above the tile here and take it off in big chunks rather than tiny little pieces. It's a lot neater, and it comes off in bigger pieces that way. When you get your Sawzall started, make sure you're not burying this blade. You want to just barely be busting through the drywall there, and you can tell when you're through the drywall if you're going slow, and take your time. When you get to a stud, you'll be able to feel the studs, and what you want to do is just kind of rake across the stud when you come to those, and then you'll feel another open cavity or whatnot. But you just want to make sure that you're not getting this blade in there too far, because you don't want any electric or plumbing or anything like that inside that wall. So just take your time, be careful. If you don't have tile and you just snap a line, you can do it that way too. This is still the best, easiest way to do this. Once you get all this stuff out of here and you're just patching drywall, you got a nice straight line to work to there. So it just makes it easier in the long run to do it this way. After you get it cut, I'll bust a hole in a stud cavity somewhere and get down there where you can find the lip of the tub, and then I'll just kind of use that to pry on a little bit to get that chunk started there. Most of the time it'll come off in big pieces like that. You probably won't get it all off in one big giant chunk. Same with the back and the other side as well, and the front two sides if you have that. I just get down to where I can find that lip, and then you might have to poke at it a couple of times to get a chunk started, but like I said, the bulk of it should come off in big pieces like that. And there you got the tile and the drywall all in one shot. So you can get to the lip of that tub is what you need to get to. If you're trying to save the tub, this is definitely not the video to be watching, because we're just going to chop this whole thing into little pieces to get it out of here. So like I said, the tile and the drywall and stuff, it all comes off pretty good size chunks. The tile actually helps keep it all together. That's why I like leaving the tile on there. Next would be we're going to try to start hacking on this fiberglass. The electric to that switch comes from the right here somewhere. I just don't know where. Plumbing is usually straight up and down for the most part, but we don't know where that is either. There's no access panel to this thing, so I can't get in there and look and see where stuff's at. So I'm going to chop a couple holes in this tub just to figure out where stuff is. Even though the water and the power shut off, I still don't like, just chopping like a crazy person. So cutting a few holes here and there, no biggie. You could use a circular saw for some of this stuff with a carbide blade, but mostly Sawzall. I'm trying to do this one hand so I can show you what I'm doing. And if you wanted to use a circular saw for some of this stuff, you can. I just opt for the Sawzall. I don't have too many tools out, but I got in there, and the electric does go to the right there with the plumbing and the pump, and everything is on this corner. Can't really tell, so I popped the cap off of this end thing. That little knee wall thing's coming out, so I kind of just popped that off so I could see down in there, just see if I could see anything. And I can see that it's hollow on that end, but like I said, this thing's coming off anyways, so I was just curious, I guess, see if I could see anything. On the sides, this side just had mud over top of this edge in the corner there. I just chipped it off with a chisel so I could find the fasteners, whether nails or screws. You want to take those out. It just makes getting the pieces of this tub out a lot easier, and if you're trying to get it out in one piece, that would also be the way to go. I found the plumbing here and a lot of mouse poop. There's shutoffs under there. I don't know why, because there's no access to this thing. It's crazy, really. The overflow's got to come off. This is set up just like a bathtub. It's just in a different spot. So you got the drain with the trap below it and the overflow. And what I'm going to do is just kind of chop this up in a few manageable pieces here. Lots of hollow cavities in these fiberglass tubs. Showers too. And I'm going to bypass cutting into the bottom here, just because the bottom's usually reinforced, harder to cut through. A lot of times there's concrete or thin set down there. So I just leave the bottom for last, and I'll cut everything else off and out from around the bottom and take the bottom off last. Eventually that's all that will be left is just the bottom sitting here. I'll show you why when we get to the bottom, and you'll be able to tell how thick it is and whatever. So this thing, I guess I could probably bury this blade, but I just, get in the habit of not doing that. It's pretty hollow in there. I do want to be careful around this overflow, just because I don't want to jar the trap loose, possibly. I have no idea how it's hooked up, so you just don't know. But if that trap should happen to come loose from me hacking on it and dump the trap water all over the ceiling below it, and it's going to be a little while before I can get to it, it might soak through. So I just kind of be careful around that stuff too. Here again, I'm trying to cut this with one hand. Sorry about that, but just kind of giving you the idea how to get around these tubs. And like I said, I'm bypassing cutting too far into the bottom, just because the bottom of these tubs is usually, like I said, reinforced, and it's a lot thicker, a lot harder to cut through. Sometimes you might have to cut around that drain if you can't get the drain to come off, but I don't think there's going to be a problem with this. So the overflow cap, that comes off. I did notice these jets. I didn't realize these jets popped out like this. It doesn't really help me at all, but I didn't realize you could work on them or change them out or whatever if you needed to. So yeah, whatever. Still got to cut it out. But anyways, so getting into these corners, I kind of hosed myself. I had to chop a little more off the corner to get it to let go, but and that let go in the middle, and then I could get it apart enough to see where the jet hoses were. You want to cut those with the Sawzall. It's usually plastic. It could be a little bit of residual water in those lines, but 9 times out of 10, if there is any, it's very little, but just be mindful of that, I guess, as you're pulling these things apart. Here you can see it's set up just like a bathtub. Like I said, the overflow there. I noticed they didn't insulate very well. I don't know what happened here when they put this in, but that's an outside wall. We'll have to fix that up. Get it insulated the way it's supposed to be, I guess. I did find electric going down this wall down to the bottom there. That's obviously feeding this tub, but I have no idea where it goes once it goes down there. Like I said, everything is in that corner. So the power shut off, the water shut off too. So I'm just gonna chop this corner off, get this side off of here, and like I said, just get this into manageable pieces that we can remove and get out of here. And I found this is probably a big no-no here, they buried an outlet under the tub, and I nicked the plug wire, which is not a big deal, like I said, but you just never know. You never know. That thing was right up against the tub like that for whatever reason. I have no idea. It probably should have been, stapled up or something, but plugged in there and buried in the wall with no access is probably not a good idea, but it is what it is. So cut the hoses loose on that one and got that side out of there. Same with the other side. Cut across the bottom, cut the jet hose, and then I'm going to, just kind of chop this whole corner off and take that side out one piece. And then I can work on this faucet here. I'm working my way over to this thing. Now that I can see in there, I'm just going to cut this whole back side of it off, so I can get to the plumbing, get those plumbing lines cut so I can get the rest of this out of here. After I cut that and pulled that little chunk off there, I could get to the plumbing. Can finally see what's going on. I mean, I probably could have cut that off to begin with, but I guess it doesn't matter. Shutoffs, have no idea why. Can't get to them, but I'm going to cut those pipes off so I get the rest of this thing out of here. And then I'll end up cutting those below the floor and capping them. But rather than trying to get in there and unhooking those, handles and all that stuff. So there's the electrical plug. I just cut that to the switch and work on getting the rest of this stuff cut out. The rest of them hoses, I'll chop that off and chop off that line coming off the pump there. And then this is basically the only piece that's left. I got the plumbing unhooked, and the pump and all that stuff is like one big piece, and it's still kind of attached to the bottom. So I had a couple straps holding it down to that bracket that's concreted to the floor there. So I just cut those straps and was able to get that faucet piece of fiberglass off of the pump, and then it was just the pump sitting there by itself with the bottom of the tub. Got the pump out of there, and you can see it was sitting in a big bed of concrete, and the bottom of the tub sitting on a big bed of concrete. The last thing to do is unhook that drain there. He said sometimes if you can't get the drain loose, you might have to cut the fiberglass around the drain and work at it that way. But this way, with these stoppers, that little cap comes off and you can access the screw part below it, unscrew that, and that comes out, and then you can get to that little basket that's in the bottom of the tub with a basket wrench. Those things are great for sinks, tubs, all kind of stuff, man. That little thing I've had forever, and it sure comes in handy all the time. But yeah, sometimes you might have to cut around this thing if you can't get it loose. But once you get that part off of there, the bottom's loose, so you can just pull that off in one piece and take that off last. You can see the concrete that it was sitting in. See, that's why you don't want to try cutting through that. You'll be there forever trying to hack through the bottom of that thing. Look how thick that is. This thing's got big 4x4 post things holding it up. It looks like plywood and fiberglass and all kinds of stuff in there. So yeah, it just makes more sense to cut around the bottom, take the bottom off last. And then here you got the the cleaned out cavity. So that's it for getting his tub out of here. So we'll work on deleting the drain and the electric and the plumbing. We'll be all done. So hope that helps you out.